Crossroads Church, you got something real quick, right?
Yeah, really. On the week of July 9th through the 15th, Crossroads, some other area churches and businesses are going to do community outreach projects. We would like to use the courthouse lawn on the west side, use their power to, we're going to have Pat Beasy and Jonah Fish Fry come in, and we're going to give away fish, sandwiches, chips, have a little music out there to anybody who wants to come. So we'd just like to use that property, but that'd be Wednesday evening.
I have no problem with it.
Motion to allow.
He'll need to see Brad about the electrical
Okay.
and stuff, Brad Drury, so
Okay.
he'll help you with that.
All right.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second, all those in favor, motion carries.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, John, you got anything?
I got two things following up on last month's meeting. Steve Weatherman with Data Exchange, actually WTH Technologies, had called reminding us that we needed to sign this data exchange agreement in the addendum. We took it under advisement at the last meeting. I think it actually passed back in March, but he was needing those back. I think you were going to look at something or check something out, Luke. But we kind of need to act on that.
What's he asking for? Don't we already have an agreement with him?
Yeah, that's the agreement. We
That was
just
the
didn't sign
renewal
it.
that you did.
Bill.
You wanted to look at.
Yeah, we already had an existing.
Oh,
agreement.
no, there was a discrepancy on the money we were supposed to pay. I remember you saying that now. I think we
It's just about 2,000, I think, and then it says 5,000.
Yeah, yeah, we agreed to $2,700, if I remember right, and they're asking for more money, so.
Okay, so it's 2,700 from the county.
For the year, Luke?
I thought it was just like about 2.
I thought it was closer to it, but I don't know.
Well, whatever it was a grant. The money that was left over, he was going to use for,
Radios for other departments. It's less money than what they're.
what's in there,
Yeah.
because that said 5, I
Okay,
think.
so we're going to pass it, we gotta get the money straightened out. Okay, I'll get back in touch with him, tell him that's the sticking point and try to get that figured out. I know it's seen in one of these, it was like 6,000, but the state will pay the county 2,000.
And then there was a grant.
Leaving like about 4,000. Yeah, total remuneration under this agreement shall not exceed 6,000. The state was going to pay us 2,000. We would have to pay the rest.
That's not the way it was sold to us at all, though. Not even close.
Yeah, because he was saying he was gonna have extra money.
Right, and he said we use it for radios.
We've got to do that narrow banding and all that other stuff that we've got to have.
Okay, so I'll get a hold of him and try and get that resolved. Second thing I have for you, at the last commissioner's meeting, I passed out a resolution regarding the county adopting nepotism policies regarding both employment matters and matters related to county contracts. This is something new that the legislature threw at us this year, that each county's got to have their these kind of resolutions. And it's supposed to be passed by July 1st. The only threat, the only enforcement action that they have is not approving the budget until we do have such policy. Well, that won't happen until September or so anyway. So, as I told you last week, if we deferred action till tonight, I don't think it's going to hurt anything. The legislative group, the commissioners, what is it, Association of Indiana Counties,
County of Indiana Counties.
had put out a proposed ordinance, and a couple of the sections had 1, 2, or 3 selections you can make to put in there. You can make it pretty restricted, pretty tight, even to the point where if an office holder was supervising one of their own family members, the family member would have to be terminated. You could make it that tight. I took the opposite approach. I did the least restrictive ordinance that they had. Of the 3 samples, I took the least restrictive. And that would mean that just because someone works in a department where their direct line supervisor is a relative, they won't have to lose their job. They're grandfathered in if they were already employed in such a capacity on July 1st. So this policy that I put together and that I handed out to Luke and John last meeting, Tim, I don't know if we ever got a copy to you or not, is the least restrictive of the 3 options the Association of Indiana Counties gave us.
And I looked over it and it was fine. I'll make a motion to accept that draft and make it so, and
You got a motion on the floor?
I'm gonna stay out of this one.
I'm not gonna vote on this.
Let's just look at it some more.
I don't know, how I feel about it. If we have a problem, if the work's getting done, I have no problem with people working that's related. If the work's getting done, that's I feel like where I'm at with it.
well, me too.
So I
They
don't,
told us that the budget, they will not even start the budget.
No,
we'll have to look, I wanna look at, I haven't seen the paperwork, but, I mean, we may have to go with the least amount that I'm just not ready to vote for this tonight, because I haven't read any of that. And I understand we need to do that.
I'll rescind my
Right
motion,
away.
I'll make a motion table then.
I'll go with that.
Tim, there's your, so all 3 of them have.
You think in 2 weeks you'll be able to
Yeah.
do something?
Yeah. But we have to pick one of the 3.
Right. And if you want to come by sometime, and then I'll give you a copy of what they've sent, different paragraphs where you have your choices. But the paragraphs that I've used in here are the best for the county.
Okay.
Because no one will lose their job if they were already employed as a health.
I didn't like it either, but the state's mandating it, so
Yeah.
they're twisting our arm on this one.
Okay.
Got anything else?
I've got 2 tabled matters. I'm
Sorry,
quitting.
John. Sorry, John.
Okay, that's it.
Struck out.
Benji, got anything?
No, I don't.
Do you know anything about that water leak they got on that road out there, Beehive North? Did they get that fixed or locate anybody on that?
We located the lady and it was a private water line and she was going to take care of it.
I make a motion we approve the claims.
Okay.
It was a Ray, REA, but it was a private water line.
I make the motion we approve the claims.
Okay.
These are some that didn't get on that
Okay.
paper.
I'll second the motion to pay the claims. I did it.
Got a motion and a second to pay the claim. All those in favor? Motion carries.
Are these multiple claims? Or are those
Yeah.
2 separate?
Those came in after. They knew.
And the other thing that I have is, we have to transfer some funds because of different lawsuits and things. We gotta put some transfer funds around there in the auditor's office.
Do you see what it says?
Yeah. Unemployment to legal fees. I thought
And we're
anything-
transferring from unemployment
I thought
to
anything
legal fees.
1,500 you could move without our approval.
Can I go 1,500?
They sure are.
Oh, okay, I can do that, never mind. I've got the penny to, I'm busy today.
We want to see you sign.
This is under county.
Huh?
This is under county.
It's under commissioners, yeah.
Yeah.
It's under the general commissioners.
John, you got anything?
No, not this time.
You got anything?
Well, I'll tell you, and I think some of these people here tonight are probably going to ask for that. I'd like to see that, I can't think of the road, it's behind Peeville, from Joe Galwell's house to the back side of Peeville, kind of into Peeville. I'd like to see that blacktopped. I don't know what it's going to cost, but I'd like to look into it.
800.
800, but is that the wraparound road that goes into Peeville?
Yeah.
800 block.
South.
I'd like to,
They go over to the church, Bev, does they go to church or
Let's see, Main Street.
is it Main? Okay.
I don't think it's going to cost us all that much money. It's a real short stretch of
It's not
road.
very wide.
So,
It needs to be widened, cleaned out.
Yeah, sure. District, you gonna look into it?
Blacktop and whiting.
just the blacktop one.
You got anything else?
I don't think so.
I got some, we ordered these benches for the courthouse. And,
Cool.
we
They're
already.
going outside.
Yeah.
We have to sign
Four
this,
of
so.
them. And then,
No, you don't have to
you
sign.
already approved that.
It
That's
was
what
already
they are.
approved.
And the,
They're gonna be 8 foot long,
Yeah, that'd be nice.
and I have Solomon County in the back
Really?
of it.
yeah, it's gonna be,
Do you know where they're going exactly?
the runways coming into the doors. And then I'm gonna have, get a price on some concrete. Under so much money.
Set them on.
You know, have them bolted down, so.
They don't want
They
that.
want to have the stairways done, and then, another thing we had, it wasn't anybody's fault, but we lost a tree over here when we had this people in the square here a couple weeks ago. Not gonna be a good time to plant any trees or anything, but we got I told Brad to check on getting that tree replanted.
What kind of tree was it?
I don't know what kind it was, about 5 inches around. I didn't look at it, I just seen it was broke over and it wasn't good. So I don't know what kind it was. It was a berry, small berry.
Don't plant any of them dang gumball trees.
No. No, we don't want any of
If
that.
you ever planted that and needed it.
So,
It's got all-
got that project, hopefully get it done this next month. So I'm gonna get to see that through. I don't know anything else other than, is Bill Thomas here?
No, but there's 2 other representatives here in the state of
Representatives for you.
Old business, are they here tonight?
Well, Ball's back there and that other gentleman.
I work with Bill. I'm here about the oil and gas lease pertaining to the 31% interest that the county owns. We'd like to have an option on a lease sign. So the main reason for this is you people own it. You have potential to make money. I can't guarantee you're gonna make money, but I know if you don't sign a lease, you're guaranteed you're not gonna make any money with it. It's a tax base where you get a royalty for signing the lease. Besides, you have a severance tax. Ron Dean, D-E-E-M. 2 E's and an M.
Got it. Thank you.
I own the company that, next to it, John has the lease forms. There was a trade show in Houston in August. And that's where we will take this. We have a booth, and it costs like $2,500 for a booth. And you put properties up that you are dealing with. I talked to John a little bit about today. You put them on a board, put the map. I furnished all of you a map of the proposed property. Luke asked me to cut out a couple of properties. We did that. The property, we just deal with 31%. He asked, cut out 2 of the sections, because he thought that there was a producing well down there. We did that. What we can take to the Houston trade show is, and we show someone, we make a deal with you and we get this signed. Within 2 days, I'm going to the people that have the other part of it. That's, and try to make a deal with them. That's when it becomes real probable that you're going to have some type of activity here. The money you can make besides off the royalty just for the severance tax and if they come here and drill is phenomenal. I mean, just for the gravel, whatever, but, you know, food. I mean, it's just, it's an economic, I live in Ohio and work in West Virginia, Ohio, and the economic boom has been brought to that part of the world. The Marcellus is crazy. I mean, this is not Marcellus. We're looking at the oil. We don't know where the depth is. I've had a geologist look at it 2 or 3 different times. It depends on which side of the river that you're thinking about as to what the depth is. That's what he's told me, and he's been in this basin off and on for about 25 years. So that's why we're here and why we've been here. Folks tabled it the last time.
What happens if there is no phenomenon? If they sign a deal with you and you do all this, but nothing comes through, who ends up with? Do you sign it for a certain amount of time?
Yes, and there's a hold harmless, there's a hold harmless, John, there's a hold harmless clause on there. We put a hold harmless, the county is out nothing and you have no liability. Nothing. It's a win-win for you. If I fail to promote it or to do anything with it, or we do anything, you're out the time. And you've had it for 9 years and you haven't done anything, I believe, with it so far. We feel that we can. Other questions?
I don't really have a problem with with only the 31% interest that the county's.
That's what we put in there.
Right, and then accepting those 2 township sections, and then there was a parcel that was out by the lake, which you guys did not have a specific location on. I'd like to reserve whatever is in that block. I can't tell you what township section that is.
Why do you want to take that out of it?
Because of production on it. And the county should get rid of it if there's production on it.
Well, the county, you're not getting rid of anything. You're not.
I understand that.
I mean, you're not. I mean, that's your. But you're not getting rid of anything by signing that lease.
And do these leases, the way I had talked to Bill about it before, is we give you guys 5 years and no more than that.
That's right. If we can't do something, if there's not production here within that period of time, it's practically a lost cause anyway with the market. I'll just tell you that now.
And another thing I was wanting to know, upon reassignment, I was wanting to come up with some type of a fee. That way, I mean, we're giving you guys this right to market this for nothing. But, you know, in the event you guys were successful in your endeavors, I'd like to see the county get some type of a fee for reassignment. I don't know what would be a reasonable fee to ask. What do you think, John?
Well, I don't know, because in this lease, there is a provision where they do have the right to assign and transfer the lease
Which
over in part.
Well,
And,
personally, okay, when you're asking that, I'm not going to be the one drilling the well. I can't afford to drill a well. Okay,
I understand.
I have to make a deal with the company for the rest of the property. You're 31%. We can't do anything. If we don't get the other 60, I mean, I can't go out and drill a well and they're 31%. We have to get the other property. Now, they can do that to you because you have a forced pooling statute in this state, but you can't do it. But I have to go make a deal with them. And if that deal takes place, then it becomes marketable. Someone will get interested because you'll have 12 or 13,000 acres that is blocked up fairly decent where someone can come and drill a well and drill a test hole and see what there is here.
Yeah,
That doesn't take place.
I think on this 31%, we're stupid if we don't do this. On the fee simple stuff, we shouldn't do it.
But we took that out, John, it's out there, right? I mean, we took that out because it's what he asked for. I mean, it's, what you folks don't know me, and I understand that, but I don't know who else has been here, and I know Bill's been here for a while trying to get this done. Who's going to promote it, and who's going to take it to Houston and Dallas and try to sell it? And that's what those maps, I don't know if you
I
looked
don't
at them.
know, but we do have a coal company that bought out a gas company here in the county.
Mhm.
And those same people may be interested in this. They're just down the road here. And I don't know whether they know what we have. I mean, my opinion, just, why those people have worked well with us, why wouldn't we be willing to work with them? And I don't know where they'd even be interested in it. But we should offer it to them and say, hey, look, this is what we got. I don't know. I don't.
Well, it's been offered to the public in the form of a tax sale for 9 years, and everybody's been sitting on their rump, watching it go up year after year after year. And these people, they've done a lot of,
I haven't, but I don't keep track of it.
it's advertised in the paper every year, big old, long list of them, about a third of it is Westport Oil and Gas.
Where's that at exactly?
In various locations.
Don't you, did any of you bring your map? I didn't bring a map. Did any of you bring the map? But it's basically east running towards north, directly east of here, and a little bit north here running towards Greene County.
We can't do a darn thing with it. Except all
And we're not really selling the rights of what we're.
You're leasing them. You're
We're
leasing
leasing
it 12.5.
Well, they've been for sale twice a year
Right.
for,
And we're not, I mean, if we don't do something, we're gonna wind up losing this, because these guys are gonna get tired of messing around, and they're gonna go off, and then we may not ever get a chance to lease this again. So, I'll go
This
with Paul,
is just a
whatever.
scenario, this is just a scenario, say that we got 500 acres someplace, we had that, we've had that, and we got, somebody comes in here and they wanna buy that 500 acres of coal. At 31%, and you guys sign, you give these people to nothing, for nothing, what are we gonna get then?
you'll get
It's
a
not.
royalty.
It's
We'll
not.
get a royalty, but they'll be getting something too, right?
We're not leasing your coal. You don't own. This is just oil and gas.
Just oil and gas.
This is oil and gas. It doesn't have anything to do with
But
the
if
coal.
somebody's down there drilling and we're in a mess, I mean, I don't know. This is just things.
That all falls back on the permit holder.
That's right. The coal. But I mean, this is like you're talking. You don't own the coal.
We don't control the gas.
You own 30% of the oil and gas. You don't own any of that coal. And under these tracts, from our title. Now, I mean, we haven't run certified title on all, but from our title, you don't own the coal. Okay? I mean, I can't stay here and I'm not gonna, put that in court.
Yeah, the coal sold years
I
and
mean,
years
it's
ago,
nothing.
things like that in Paxton, that's all.
I don't know, whatever you guys wanna do, you guys talk to them.
Does this include
I don't
coal
know
then?
enough about it.
No.
No.
What is the name of your company?
Enexco, ENEXCO. It's out of Marietta, Ohio.
John, have you seen anything, any questions on this? Do you have what's your legal advice on this? Should we tell him, no, we're not interested, or should we tell him, yes, this is a good deal for the county? You're smarter than we are about stuff like this.
Okay. I don't see any downside to this lease.
Okay.
They market it, they drill a hole,
They're doing all the
they
footwork.
produce, they give us our royalty, all within 5 years, or it's all out the window.
Right.
We don't have to expend anything for abstractors fees, aren't making any representations as to the ownership of it, they've done that themselves. I just don't see any downside.
Okay.
I just don't see any downside.
I've done the same
The
thing
only-
with my 20 acres at home, and they give me $30 an acre. I've done the exact same thing.
But you
They're
probably had,
asking us-
but you had a 100% interest, and there wasn't all this.
That $30 an acre.
I didn't get it to grow on down.
Did they
did it
grow
for
on
2
you?
years, and they didn't grow a thing, and it cost, and I leased them for 2 years, Noble Energy.
Right, I done the same thing.
And we got a gentleman coming in here wanting, nothing against you. We're gonna we're gonna sign the contract to give him our county a percentage, right? We're signing an agreement to saying that nobody else can get it, right?
That's true.
For 5 years.
For 5 years, and we're not getting what, right off when he walks
But
out.
we don't own the top side.
But we're not gonna get nothing.
But we don't own the top side.
I know, but you own the gas, right?
We own the top side, White Noble.
But we're not leasing. We're leasing for what? What are we leasing for tonight?
Only the oil and gas.
Only oil,
But what, how much are we
The
leasing for
top
tonight?
side or the bottom side.
What he's asking is money, you're not getting compensated a dime.
That's right.
That's right, you're not getting
That's the
compensated a
answer
dime.
I'm looking for, right
That's right.
there.
You're not getting compensated a dime as of right now.
That's right.
Potential. And that's what I'm here about. That's.
I understand.
But if you strike oil, we get
12.5%, and you get,
12.5%.
and then the county gets the benefits of the tax dollars coming to the county. And that's our whole promotion. We're gonna try to market. You're not getting compensated a nickel right now.
Now, you guys can do what you wanna do.
And he's gotta be able to market it, and he's gotta be able to do something with the other companies.
That's right. I can't, if I don't have your 31%, I'm gonna go to the other company, which I've told John who it is, and I'll tell you, it's Anadarko. That's who owns the other part of it. We've talked to them, okay? If I go with that, with your 31%, I think I can make a deal. If I go without it, I'm gonna have to make the deal that they want me to make.
If they don't hit anything, all the expense is on them. If they hit something, you guys will look like the Beverly Hills.
And I don't, you know, I'm not,
Thanks, Dan. Strike that in the record.
And
John, if this was your property, what would you do with it?
Go ahead.
I wasn't even gonna talk, but I'm going to.
Yeah.
One of the things that I see, and I've done, and you all know for me and how much probably economic development work I've done on different projects since I've with the bank since 1975. And this is how I believe. I have nothing to gain or anything to lose by all this. But I can see that economic impact, if they never hit up, if they come here with these big rigs to drill, look at the impact, economic impact that this has on our county. By just having the influx of labor, the need of hardware, pipe, whatever goes with drilling. And look what that does. The economic, whatever monies that they put in here, if it takes $8 million to put down a hole, a portion of that goes back into different businesses around the community. And that's why I started working on this and back in the beginning. Does anybody have any questions for me? That's the economic impact that it can have on our county. We're the third poorest county in the state. We can change that.
You guys wanna vote on this, or?
I think we should move forward with it, accepting those 3 township sections and having some type of fee upon, if you guys successfully reassign your interest in the lease. Some type of a flat fee, I don't know what would be.
Are you making a motion here? You need to make a motion.
Accepting those 3 townships.
I just know what they all have to look at.
And was there something about the lake you said also?
Right, that was in
Is that
there.
in that 3 townships?
Right, that includes it.
Oh, that's including the 3 townships.
We talked about 2 township sections, but whenever I seen the map, I seen another.
And what else you wanted renewal?
Yeah, I want some type of fee if it can successfully reassign. That type, that,
The motion.
Mr. Paulson there, what do you think about? You work for Paul's, don't you? You're an oil and gas guy, ain't you? What do you think about it?
Part of it. In a public meeting, I would need to voice an opinion. It's your choice, not mine.
Go ahead.
Okay, one of the evidently problems or questions seems to be, this land has sat out there for however many years on the tax roll, whether it's the land or the oil and gas or the coal rights, not collecting a nickel, and now someone wants to come in and just want the gas and oil, maybe make and help the county make some money off of that part of it. During this, was it 5 years for the contract, however many years you sign a contract for, during that time, if someone wants to pay the taxes on the land part, can they come in and acquire the land?
The land is not.
You don't own the land.
Okay,
The land's not attached to this.
okay, that's what I'm asking. Or after, maybe they hit the gas and oil, because you say there are taxes owed on the land.
On the mineral rights.
Oh,
Mineral rights
okay,
on it.
not on the land itself. So someone does actually own the land?
Yes.
Right.
And he has to
Okay.
make a deal with the surface owner too, right?
Okay, that's what I'm not understanding. Someone owns the land, but there are just mineral rights
Minerals.
that haven't been collected on.
You got a motion?
I make a motion, we lease the 31% interest that we have, accepting lands in those 3 township sections. And I don't know, I need some more information. What do you think we can get upon reassignment?
Ron,
Yes.
one of the sticking points that we had discussed earlier was there had been mention made by one of the commissioners that they were only interested in leasing those minerals greater than 5,000 feet in depth. You and your associate indicated that was a deal buster.
Yes, it
And you
is.
couldn't possibly do that, and you explained to me why, and I thank you for that. Now Luke is asking about if you assign these rights to someone else, and all of a sudden the county is now doing business with someone else.
But they are gonna do business, you are gonna do business no matter what with either 1 or 2 other people.
I
Okay,
understand that.
and what would take place in the deal, and this man, he's in oil and gas, what would take place is, I would try to make a deal on a percentage, okay, as to what, like, I would try to keep, say, 1% of the well. We've talked about giving the landowner to someone else besides an individual owns land, like 1.5%. I would try to take this to someone and say, we will sell you 82% of this property. Okay? Follow me, the county is getting 12.5%, the landowner gets 14. If that, 18, if we make some deal like that, if you guys wanting that, we will try to negotiate like 50% of it. Okay? I can't tell you, you know, only until it happens, what the actual deal is, but it'll be, you know.
It's better than nothing.
And it's in writing, that's right. It'll be in, you know, it'll be within the scope of legal documents. You know, just like this document here will be recorded. But that's what takes place.
But we're gonna retain ownership this way.
Yes.
Before it's for sale,
It's
it
not-
had a big old fat for sale sign on it every year. And if there's some value to be had there, we're gonna get the benefit of it.
Lonnie, you got something?
The only thing, I wonder too, or another thing that I wonder is, one of these other groups is gonna come in here and drill it. They're gonna have, if he successfully does this, they're gonna have the right to come in and drill it. Okay?
we give it to them and everything else? Are we gonna have the same issue with, like we did with some of these other companies when they were going down these roads, they just pulled the snot out of them? How do we, if we give it blankly to them now, which to me it almost sounds like a good idea, to let them come, but how do we protect ourselves, how do we protect our roads with this heavy equipment coming in and out and tearing them up, because it's going to? I mean, are they gonna have to come here and deal with us and then we're good to go because they're going to be doing it, or by signing this now, does it blanketly give it to them? And there's no way to hold them accountable for the road.
Yeah, this doesn't do anything on the roads. And for example, like in the spring of the year when the freeze goes out and the roads are beginning to thaw, from time to time the commissioners put on a weight limit on different county roads and things like that, and they can do that here if that becomes an issue. This lease doesn't give them any unequivocal right to use county roads or anything else. It's just a lease of mineral interest.
Anyone that drills a well within your state, there's a bond. I mean, you have to get a permit, and that's state regulated. I don't know exactly what the bonds are for a well in this state, but you have to have a bond put up, whoever the drilling company is.
I think what Lonnie's worried about is if you get an oil well crew in here, he's wanting to know if they're gonna maintain that road and fix it back up like all the others have done. And
We have a big problem with it.
right.
I mean, I can't guarantee that. If you're asking me, I
It'd just
can't
be
guarantee.
something they'll just have to come in and follow the roads like everybody else, and they'll just have to come in and follow them, Lonnie, and then before they start drilling.
Okay. I'll make a motion, we lease 31% interest, which is the Westport properties, accepting 3 township sections, which I can't tell you what they are right off the top of my head.
There's 17 and 18 on the one, but I don't know, you never told me the other
No,
one.
I just
don't
found
know.
that one out when I was checking it out.
They're leasing 31% of what?
Accepting 3 township sections, and I want some type of fee whenever we reassign the lease. Because, I mean, you guys are going to be able to sell it to somebody, and I think maybe.
Hopefully.
Well,
I'm with you. I'm not here to make money just like you guys
Right.
are. I'm not here, and hopefully we get it done. I mean, that's my,
I don't know, maybe, I don't even know what to ask. Because I don't want to make it a deal breaker to make it a hindrance on you guys moving it, but at the same time. How about 15,000? We'll just get $15,000 upon reassignment of the lease. That's my motion. 31% accepted in 3 township sections, $15,000 one-time fee every time the lease is reassigned.
Is that per township?
Huh?
Is that per township? 15,000 per township?
No.
No, just
Why don't you ask for that up front?
Well, we could just put it on the tax, we could put it back out on the tax sale.
You got a motion and a second. All those in favor? John and Luke, all those opposed? Motion carries.
Did you oppose it?
Yes, I do. We have any new business, which is Crossroads is here for new business. I think we need Fred, you're on here, internet and the telephone service. You want me to do that now? Yeah. Needs some help. Yeah.
pass me my other two.
Have a spotlight, huh, Brad?
Is it gonna be too bright?
Okay, the main thing we wanted to bring up tonight here was the Sullivan Courthouse Voice over Internet Protocol telephone system, a fiber optic backbone throughout the courthouse here, and improvement of the current internet system here. We currently have 4 DSL lines coming into the courthouse from Joint. We've got one for each floor. And that has proven to be a headache as more and more things are going across the internet, and we're getting more downloads from different government agencies and more uploads to different government agencies. So that's where we're coming from on that. We'll start out with the existing telephone system. And let me interrupt here. We have with us tonight Mr. Mark Niederheiser. He's from Microtel. And on the other side of Mark, there is Keith Van Wy from Joink. He's the COO of Joink. So this is the existing telephone system. That the only shots we took were that of the basement. Doesn't look too bad there. You get a little bit more into it, and you can see we got sort of a rat's nest going on. And as you get even in closer, you can see that we have all kinds of issues. I have worked with Mr. Niederheiser from Microtel for years. I've worked with him several times here in the courthouse where we tried to what they call tone out lines to find out where this line goes to. Is it being utilized for anything? Half the time we find the wires are cut in the middle of the floor somewhere upstairs. They change colors from upstairs to downstairs, so you never know what you're getting into. Okay, what we'd like to see is the existing phone lines, or the existing telephone system, was installed in the early 80s, or late 80s, early 90s. It's got approximate 63 maximum handsets on it. We've got 31 different trunk lines coming into the courthouse. And on top of the trunk lines, you've got approximately 16 analog lines. As you've seen before, it was a wiring disaster. There was no capability to expand the current system. If we have to lease a building or move to a different building to expand our courthouse here, currently there's no voicemail in the system. You have to rely on portable voice recorder machines. The replacement parts for this North Star is getting harder and harder to locate, and of course it is old technology. Okay, this next one here is going to be a typical rack mount of the Samsung OS 7400 that's been installed by Microtel. And where's this one at?
The Vigo County Library.
This is at the Vigo County Library in Terre Haute. That's what a phone system looks like today. You know, there's a world of difference in what we currently have in the courthouse and what it actually should be. With the new phone system, it's going to be the current technology. You can expand not only within the building, but off-site. We can connect this building with the building 4 blocks away or 2 miles away. It doesn't make any difference. You will have individual voice mailboxes within the switch itself. You have a replacement parts that's readily available. Almost all the existing copper cable that's within the building will not be used. There are going to be instances where we will have to have copper lines still going to the different departments.
But virtually all that cabling you saw, and on each floor, it's pretty similar.
Yeah.
95% of that can be abandoned, and we'll try to get rid of it as we can.
Take it home with you. No, we'll cut it out and give it back to the county. There is a capability of taking a desk phone with you as an office person. If you're going to go to, let's say, Disney World, you can take the desk phone with you and you can answer it there just like you're actually sitting in your office here in the Sullivan. There's going to be minimal Ethernet cabling required because we do have Ethernet cabling throughout the entire building. Okay, and now Mark, I'm going to throw this one over to you because that one's a lot more detailed than I can get into.
Well, basically what this is, it's really not as complex as it looks. What that's showing you, this just giving you an example of a new, like a voice over IP telephone system that can be used in multiple locations. It's just showing you, like, for example, the main system is in New York. You've got a branch site in Dallas and Chicago. That'd be no different than down the street or in another county, or at the other end of the county if you lease a facility. There are a couple different ways you could do it. It's showing the 7400 is obviously what we would have here in the main building, right here. What that's showing you. For example, just using this for an example, if you were to lease the elementary down the street that I guess there's been some discussion about at some point, I guess you're running out of space here. You could either put a 7100 down there or a 7200 and network them together through the internet connection. Or my recommendation would be to put a direct T1 between those locations. That way you actually wouldn't need any actual equipment down there other than telephones. They could just strictly go across your connection. And we have people that we work with, certain contractors that could possibly bury a piece of fiber optic cable in there for you. So if that's the case, you would have no leasing from any other entities, a phone company, Frontier, anybody. So you would strictly be in charge of that yourself. Fred would be. That would be my recommendation to do it. If you started to get another location that you're getting up around over 25 or 30 telephones, maybe up around 40, you'd probably want to do something like this and put another system and just network them together. But these are just, and it's just showing you the different type of, you can have a combination of digital phones, analog stations, wireless IP telephones. You can have, if you have somebody working off-site, like one of these, like a home worker, or they call them road warriors, as long as they have a high-speed network connection, internet connection at their home, you have no off charges from the phone company. Just basically all they have to do is plug it in and it'll sync up with the system here.
How long does it take to put this system in?
Well, with the cable, this is going to depend on the fiber backbone, because we're proposing all IP telephones, and I've got the handouts here that I'll give you guys to look at, price-wise and whatever. I chose kind of a middle-of-the-road instrument. You know, you can go with big color displays on you know, depending on what your department heads need and that type of thing. You might want to tweak the styles, but the way I've got it figured is we could probably start on the main floor relatively soon. It won't require the fiber, but as we add the second floor and the third floor, the fiber has to be in there in order to support. You know, you can imagine we want to try to get all your computers and everything connected. Well, you can imagine throwing all that voice out on that network. If you don't have the fiber in there, you're going to have issues, and I don't want you to have issues. I don't want to be getting complaints. So it'll
try to throw all that voice on the extending line or the existing line coming in. You'd have to slow computers.
Right, exactly. Now keep in mind, even though they're voice over IP telephones working within the facility here, that's none of that's going outside the building at the current time. The only time you would ever go outside the building and need to have speed issues with either your internet connection or the T1 would be when you decide to branch off site.
Well, see, we've got the health department and EMA is up pretty good.
Is that where the fire department over there?
No, over by the fire department.
Kind of over by
and the ambulance barn's up there.
Okay.
Which they need high-speed internet for their software and then the run reports, and that what we got now, it's pretty fast, but that links into another computer in Kentucky, and I'm telling you.
Hey, you're talking about the one up on North Section?
Yeah,
that's true.
We've got issues. You've been up to see about that, I think.
We've got issues there not only with the network, but with equipment.
Yes.
The equipment you have up there is...
It's wore out.
Yeah.
Wore out.
That's a very nice way of putting it. Yes.
Or junk.
Yes. Okay, now another thing on the new telephone system that Mark has explained to me, and I don't know the acronyms for it, but currently, like we said, we have 31 trunk lines coming in here.
Basically, what you've got, and this is as near as I can tell. You've got 31 lines for your faxes, your...
no, that's in addition to the faxes.
No.
Because we have 14 analogs.
No, those are for analogs within the building.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, you've got a combination of faxes, like three lines, for example, going into Commissioner's office or the Treasurer's office, or the various combination. You've got roughly 31 lines, as near as I can tell, feeding into the system. So what I would recommend doing, and I put this in here too, is at some point, I don't want to do it until the system is up and operating. You don't want to tackle too many issues at the same time. Is putting in a PRI circuit. Basically what that is, it's a digital circuit. You can get 23 lines, if you're familiar with them, out of the one circuit. And as close as you are to the phone company, or whoever you decide to get this through, I guarantee it's going to be cheaper than paying whatever you're paying for every one of those 31 copper lines. And the nice thing is you get caller ID with it that just comes on it. There's no extra charge. You can have direct inward dialing. You can buy blocks of numbers. They're pretty cheap, like $3 or $4 a month for a block of 20 from Frontier. I know they have. That's just something similar to what they have. And you could literally give every phone in the building its own direct line from the outside. So, they could call directly to the people.
So basically, when you're talking about these 31 hard lines coming in, we're getting charged $30.
Whatever they are, yeah.
Whatever they are, $30
Yeah.
times that $30, where you're saying you can bring one line in, and we get charged $30.
Well, no, it won't be $30. It's probably going to be around $300 to $400 a month.
But still,
give or take. So, I mean, something like that. Something like that. But
better than 900.
Exactly, or at least 900 probably is what you're paying now.
Right.
I mean, at the time That's where you kind of want to negotiate with different carriers now, because there's several different carriers that you can get PRIs through. So, you know, you're not stuck with one, you got some choices.
It makes sense to do it that way.
What's the unit cost this one to get all this done? What's it gonna cost?
I've got it here, it's around 34,000. And I've got enough labor in there that I think it's going to take to straighten up that wiring and wreck that out of what we can. But like I say, some of it's going to have to stay for your fax machines. I don't know, maybe certain alarms that are in the building, that type of stuff. A little bit
But
of it.
eventually you'll get that mess straightened up and be gone.
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
We have a breakdown.
And how long will it be that you'll install it? How long?
Well, like I say, it's going to depend on when we get the fiber in, which I understand is already been approved, but once that is in, then we can do the other floors. We can do the first floor.
I mean, are we talking about 6 months,
Oh,
12 months?
well, it may be 6. It may be 6. But from start to finish, it might take 6. I envision adding departments as we can with fiber. That's why I say I think everything on the system will be in the basement.
And you just work your way up.
Work our way up, and we can take care of the bottom floors.
Well, this looks like where I'm headed. I think you guys talked to the council last year.
Yeah.
I was here when you did that.
All right, we'll go ahead from the telephone lines, telephone systems, on into the networking, computer networking. The way the courthouse was originally set up was we had the assessor's office with its own little network, the auditor's office with its own little network, circuit court, the clerk, so on and so forth. Everybody had their own individualized network. And at the time, there was no reason for, I don't know, the circuit court to see the records in the clerk's office, or the clerk's office seeing the records in the prosecutor's office, anything like that. That was you just didn't need it. Well, as things have changed with the current computers, each one was independent. As technology and software programs have improved, it's become obvious that we need to be able to see the data from the other offices, almost mandatory that we have to be able to see it, and sometimes we actually have to modify it from one office to another. This sharing of data has been accomplished currently by adding additional Ethernet cabling, switches, and Ethernet cards between the various offices to be able to get the sharing going. What we have proposed is the red line going up the middle of there, that's the fiber optics backbone, with each individual office being connected via that backbone to the entire network. This not only is needed for the new phone systems that we are proposing, but it's also going to be needed for the high-speed internet to be able to service all 3 floors of the courthouse through this backbone. Okay, the standalone networks will be connected via the fiber backbone that will go from the basement to the 3rd floor. The current wiring track that's going from the basement to the 3rd floor will be utilized to minimize the extensive drilling throughout the courthouse. And if we need to make sure that we have security in between departments here, we can do that by the IP addresses and the subnet mask that comes with the IP addresses, and that will provide the security within the department, between the departments. And that is the end of our presentation.
And I don't know if you guys looked at the new courtroom and how we
Yes.
use the trunk,
Yes.
trunking that, so
Right.
we'll have that to deal with too.
Yes.
Good awareness, Bob.
Anybody got any questions?
Well, he was gonna explain the cost too, of how explain to him how we're paying now.
I'm gonna let Keith Van Wyk come up and talk about the cost of the internet side, because that is his bailiwick, that's his expertise.
Currently, Joint provides 4
individual DSL circuits to the clerk's office, the recorder's office, the prosecutor's office, and one more, the auditor's office.
And the ambulance service.
I'm sorry?
And the ambulance service.
What we based his prices on is strictly in the
In here,
courthouse.
okay.
Yeah.
So, and so that internet bandwidth is available within those offices individually and not outside of them. And those circuits are each 3 megs of download internet bandwidth and 768K of upload internet bandwidth. And those are, that's DSL service that we joint leases the line, the copper from Frontier, and then we provide the internet bandwidth that actually connects you out to the internet. What we're proposing as an alternative would be a single connection that we would service with our wireless infrastructure that would provide 20 megs of download internet bandwidth by 4 megs of upload bandwidth that could then be distributed throughout the courthouse once there's a common network that they all share. I have a document here that provides that currently across those 4 offices the county spends roughly $320. It's about $80 a piece. The service that we're proposing would be $150 a month with then a couple of options for different levels of response time in the case of an outage. So there's an option here for a 4-hour response or next business day response to any kind of an outage. And there's a fee associated with that. Sorry.
It's more of an issue of time on the memory card.
You said it was 318 now.
It's about 3 or 6 hours.
It's 319.80.
But that's not including the E911 and not including the health department and not
No.
including the ambulance. So it's,
Like cutting it in half.
So if there were an opportunity, if your remote offices were connected across a single network, there would be an opportunity to perhaps save some money on separate internet connections that are being provided, to remote sites as well.
Right, we talked about that last meeting pretty extensively.
So from our perspective, the thing that we would need to verify is that we would have line of sight from the courthouse to one of our structures. One sits behind the building that Fred's office is in. The other option is a tower that we have west of town out by the airport. There would be an antenna that would be placed on the courthouse using a non-penetrating roof mount that would then be pointed at our access point, which would be the means of us delivering the internet bandwidth.
How long have we had internet with your company?
Since 2001, we've been servicing the courthouse.
Now, has technology been available since 2001 to have serviced us with one cable line?
Well, I think that, yes.
Yes, of course it has. So we've been sitting here paying 8 internet bills, and everybody's been sitting on the sideline while we're paying 8 internet bills and not cheap internet bills. And now that we're talking about doing something a little different, now we're getting a deal. Now we're getting $150 a month internet service.
No.
So we've been sitting here paying $12,000 a year. Correct me if I'm wrong, for 8 different internet services, and now we're getting it for $150 a month. I resent that. I don't know how the rest of the taxpayers
Luke.
feel.
May I address something there?
Well, let me. I mean, I just any single internet connection could have been used to provide connectivity within the courthouse. Had the courthouse had a common network that...
Right, and that's not your problem.
Right, so there wasn't a means for any individual provider to be your single source, given the limitations of the network. So it's not, our ability to perhaps save money on a portion of the internet connection doesn't have anything to do with any other of the other opportunities you're considering.
And part of that also goes back to that each of these individual office holders sources their stuff out to different people.
Well, no, what I was agreeing with you on is that each of your individual areas had to have their own internet.
Right.
Okay, because we weren't connected any other way.
Right. But there's some office holders that wouldn't let you in their office probably.
True. Unfortunately, with the copper wire that we have going here, coming from the outside source, outside world into here, the maximum we can get here is 3 meg, period. You can't run this building on one 3 meg circuit. There is absolutely no way you could run it on one 3 meg circuit. They think it's slow today. You might as well go back to pen and pencil and hand the notes off.
Stone tablet.
The other thing about Joink, in their defense, when we started with them, they charged us $50 per floor, and they could have charged us $50 per office on the floor. So they were very good when we initially started with them. But the problem now is it's just not fast enough. And I don't think you had the wireless capability for us to connect to your tower for the last 10 or 11 years.
We have had wireless service available in Sullivan. It's been in the last 6 months that we've made investments in the tower that allow us to offer speeds up to 20 meg. So a year ago, I couldn't have offered you anything better than the DSL service that we were providing, and that's changed in about the last 6 months.
Okay, because I call probably every 6 months to find out because everybody complains to me. Our DSL is so slow. I mean, we go to enter a protective order on Insight, and it's taking my court reporter 2.5 to 3 hours to do one protective order. I mean, and the state is requiring more and more data sharing, so it's really becoming a limitation.
The thing I would point out to you is, I assume in that application, you're sending data back across the internet.
Correct.
To wherever.
Uploading's slow.
So while what I've presented tonight is an improvement in the amount of upload speed, we're still only taking it from 3 meg to 4 meg, and so depending on how it's distributed throughout the courthouse's network, you may or may not see dramatic improvement in your ability to send data, to transfer data back across the internet. Does that make sense?
Yes, but if we go with the fiber optic backbone, like with the court system, on our circuit, our one DSL circuit, we have the magistrate's office, circuit court, superior court, 2 courtrooms, the clerk, and probation. Right. We have seven connections. Yes, ma'am. And 5 computers in those, we're talking 30, 45 users on one DSL circuit.
And you have 768K to share as you send data back across the internet.
That's our problem.
Yeah. It is, and I'm not saying that. I mean, this will be better, but just understand that it's not 20 by 20, right? So it's still going to be a whole lot faster to pull stuff down from the internet than it is to send it back. And if upload bandwidth is really where the pain is really felt, that's a different solution that we could offer, but that we're not proposing tonight.
Well, I'm saying we need to put all our cards on the table, and here we've been playing this game since 2001, and we could have been faster, and we could have been operating cheaper, but we haven't had that type of advice and that type of guidance from our suppliers, and I'm a little resentful of that. So moving forward, I'm going to suggest that we look at all our options and not just look at who's providing us internet now. But that's just me. And it's nothing personal. It's just...
No, sir.
I mean, here we're sitting here paying $12,000 a year.
But you just said that the ability to do this just come up a year or so ago.
Our ability to provide you more than the 3 meg DSL circuit it has just happened in the last 6 to 9 months.
I said, you can put this front too, and have your internet for days at a time.
I would like to know where the $12,000 a year is coming from.
Yeah,
That's got me really befuddled.
Me and Don sat down, we went through, and it's not all coming from Joink, and it's not all coming from the courthouse. It's from the E911, it's from ambulance and sheriff's department and health department.
Okay, I would love to see the numbers, because I find it very, very hard to believe that we're paying $12,000 a year for.
I found it hard to believe. That's why this discussion came up last meeting, because I think we could save a lot of money, and that's why we're looking into it.
I'd like
It's
to see a
nothing
copy of those figures.
Well, these guys, I think it's safe to say, these guys have been working on this for a year on how they're gonna do all this cabling. And you're acting like they haven't done anything, but if you think about it, we're building a new courtroom